I'm Mae Bloom. These are my daughters, Ivy and Elena." Beside me, Elena shrank into herself, her shoulders curling in and her arms folding across her chest. Elena sometimes reminded me of a mouse, bright and cheerful and energetic when she was alone or with people she trusted, but trembling and quiet around strangers. Sometimes it got so bad she could hardly talk when people we didn't know asked her a question. The navy blazer lady only darted nervous eyes at us and then looked back at Mama, like she didn't want to say whatever it was she'd come to say where me and Elena could hear her. They were often like that, the wish seekers, carrying their secrets in tight fingers. "Ivy, honey, come here and get this fire going while I take our guest inside a minute," Mama called. And even though curiosity burned through me hotter than any campfire, I obeyed. The regal lady followed Mama into the RV, Martha's door swinging shut behind them with a bang. For as long as anybody could remember, people had been wishing on falling stars. And over time, those wishes had grown heavy and solid and real enough to weigh down tiny pieces of that stardust and give them hearts that beat and wings that could carry them through the warm night air. Because fireflies had come from stars once, it didn't take much for a fallen star woman to breathe the wishes back into them, reminding the fireflies where they'd come from and how they'd come to be. All you had to do after that was whisper your wish as you released the firefly, and as it drifted up into the darkness, it would take your wish with it, wrapping that wish up in its glowing golden magic. "What do you think it's about this time?" Elena asked, relaxed again now that the stranger was gone, as I stuffed some paper into the log cabin Mama had built in the fire pit and lowered the lighter down after it. My charm bracelet jingled, the little silver RV on it catching the light and making my stomach twist unhappily. For something that used to make me smile every time I saw it, that bracelet was sure getting to be an annoying reminder. "Shh," I hissed. "Maybe we can hear." Sometimes we knew what the wish seekers wanted, sometimes we didn't, but Mama always respected their privacy if they requested it. 2 clicks and a burst of flame, and the paper caught. I sat back on my heels, straining my ears to catch the conversation from inside the camper. Mostly it was just murmuring, indistinguishable as the ocean. But every now and then I'd hear something from the wish seeker. Husband, fire, job. A few minutes later, the door opened again and the visitor stood on the front step with her hands cupped around a glass jar, like it was maybe the most precious thing she'd ever held. "Thank you," she said to my Mama, in that trembly, half-there, half-gone sort of voice people often had when they were leaving with a wish in their hands. "Truly, thank you." "May it bring you joy, and remember the rules," said Mama the way she always did. Standing there in the gloom of the RV, she glowed just a little bit, silvery gold light rolling from her hair and skin. The visitor stepped down. Between her fingers I could see a glimmer of light, there and then gone. The firefly in her jar blinking its golden glow on and then off quicker than a whisper. With one last grateful look at Mama, those fancy pumps carried her out of our campsite. A minute later, we heard the sound of a car engine turning over, and then she was gone. Still in the shadow of the doorway, Mama sighed, rubbing her face with her hands. "I hope it helps." "Won't it?" I asked. Mama was the only one of her sisters who bartered wishes. Aunt Agatha and Aunt Ruth both had forever homes, in North Carolina and Montana, respectively. And Mama always said it was too hard to trade in wishes if you never moved on from a place, because you'd get too invested in fixing your neighbor's problems, and maybe you'd end up giving out wishes that were never meant to be granted. Mama stepped out of the RV now and shrugged, her hair sliding over her shoulders like starlight. "I hope, but wishes aren't always predictable." Mama and Daddy had drilled that into my head over and over again, until it was all I could do not to roll my eyes as I heard those words coming out of Mama's mouth for the zillionth time. Wishes are unpredictable. Wishes are powerful. Wishes don't always work out the way you think or hope they will. Wishes aren't to be treated lightly or taken for granted. Wishes are to be respected, honored, earned. "The fire looks good," said Mama, dumping ingredients for skillet cornbread into a bowl and beating them together until they were creamy and yellow. "Thanks, Ivy Mae." "You're welcome," I said. My full name was Ivy Mae Bloom, which was only one letter away from being a sentence.